have more, but we can always post it too and have our people post it also on X and everything else too to get it on our YouTube. We can also blast it, Usually it might look a little like, the numbers aren't so big, but this is this is like usually how it goes when we broadcast it, so it's kind of cool too. All right. Well, let's kick this off. I'll introduce everybody. My name is Pity, Linea Discord moderator here, and this is my boy Hero, protagonist, who's also a Discord moderator for Consensus and Linea. And this is also Nicholas and Ryan from the Lamina team. Is it Lamina or Lamina? Am I saying it wrong? Am I butchering it? I asked Hero about that. Lamina1. Thank you. Okay. So as long as everybody's on the same page, if you guys would like to give a little intro about yourselves, Nicholas and Ryan, whoever wants to go first, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. I'm executive producer on Artefact, which is kind of the flagship IP that's being created by Lamina. Hero, I know you're familiar with Neal. Neal is a co-founder along with Rebecca, and they put this company together a couple of years ago. Started out really kind of based on this concept of where all media is going, where storytelling can evolve to. About a year ago, Variety covered an article that Neal was partnering with Wētā to kind of give birth to a totally new IP, not an adaptation of anything that existed before, where he was going to kind of create and build that world. Wētā was going to envision it, and it was going to be built on these Lamina rails for more of a participation by the community and by the audience. So exactly a year later now, we have the team. I'm leading it. Nicholas has his agency WithLore, who's come in and really taken on a lot of the production. So in the last 9 weeks, we've taken it from that idea to now that feels something like a playable version. I mean, the vision here is that we lean into the strengths. Neal is a novel writer. It's literary, really, really expert level storytelling in prose and plot, but putting that on chain in kind of an episodic arc over time. So something that feels like playing a book is really what the vision's like, and then having that with elements on chain. This asset that you're going to mint is a thumb drive, which plays into this lore and this canon, which we can get into. But yeah, I'm executive producer. Last 9 weeks, put a team together with Nicholas, and he can talk about his background as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of you actually might know me as Ryan Crucible. I've changed everything since, but the since 2018, had that. So have been thinking a lot about this vision as well. Really aligned with Lamina kind of early on through the partnership with that, and Nicholas. Really, a lot of the people on the agency, it's all the same group of people. So we kind of represent, along with the Lamina core team, like. I think the people that have been thinking about this the longest, and definitely taken a few swings that bat over the many years and many market cycles. And so in a lot of ways, we're really taking action and execution on these kind of theoretical ideas that we've all been around the campfire on for many years.
This is great. It's like a dream come true. And I know for my buddy here, Hero, if he wants to introduce himself too, that'd be great, because he can tell you how much he loves Neal and his writing. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, the story there, when I first came to Consensus, I was chatting with a lot of people in the ecosystem and just sort of taking scope on the field and trying to assess where it was. And this being such a foundational part of what got me into crypto and cypherpunk and the sort of, nerdy edge of math and crypto and all that kind of stuff, it felt wrong not to have this name sort of etched into the early blocks of it. So I was like, hero protagonist has to be my avatar on the social spaces. And this is, the thing that I'm going to be doing is putting the word out there and helping people through this process and sort of helping etch that name into the block. So I'm certainly not the last freelance hacker of the metaverse, but I've tried to help embody the name and building that sort of helping be part of the foundational space. So it's really cool to see the project first launch. I was over there very early. I think I was one of the first 1,000 members on the page, because I've been following Neal Stephenson for years. I think I discovered Snow Crash first in like the 90s. And just it's been such a foundational part of this crypto ecosystem for me that I was like, man, this name needs to exist in the minds of more people. So to see it become like a fully fledged thing and starting to launch out and partner professional or, an official collaboration with Consensus is just so cool, because I get to be a part of the thing a little more directly now. So
Awesome. Go for it. We're gonna start talking about, like, I want to talk about like world building, like when it comes to, and I'll ask this maybe to Nicholas first, or Ryan, if you guys want to, we can go with Ryan first. If like when people are first stepping into this experience, I just want you guys to kind of describe, for stepping into Artefact for the first time in this universe, how would you describe what the kind of world they're going to be stepping into? I know you touched on it briefly, but just what are they going to see for the first time when they walk in here?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm really, yeah, man, I'm really glad to do this, because a lot of us in the market are just so used to the fact that this market's not, this industry isn't always the most consistent. And I think I'll say this, I'll speak for myself on this. I really do believe this. I know it's maybe a controversial thing to say, but like, I don't think that Web3 has achieved narrative IP at all. I think it's achieved speculative IP, the kind of characters you would see on a slot machine. But I just don't think that like the narrative and the storytelling has really been achieved in an impactful way. And I think that's what we're on the cusp of now. So when we talk about Artefact and really like, everything that Lamina is focused on, it's really about that narrative first. It's about storytelling. And it's about crossing that chasm out of just the casino, right? And like back to the principles that all of this technology was born on. But now, decades later, in a place where it all can mature and actually represent a new canvas for storytelling at a time that I think that's needed. So Artefact is the flagship for that. And it's born from an idea that Neal has as he's coming off of Polistan. He's really engaged heavily on this to sort of keep the engine running, and so this idea over the past year, really, I think was probably the seeds of it, but again, like really concentrated and focused for the last 9-10 weeks, is around this idea that our current day continues to move exponentially into the singularity, but sort of in a satirical fashion, the singularity is sort of this anticlimactic fizzle out, right? And these big AIs, they start to grow, but humans aren't really a part of that. They kind of get pushed to the outskirts. And so you exist in this, far future timeline that actually feels a bit more like the past, because it's post-internet. Most of the humans don't access AI. And it's really about the survival back to the basics of how humans survive in that, like generations later. So part of the game is starting to kind of do your own research and figure out what's true and what's not, you'll run into like a lot of rumors about how things came to be the way that they are. But it's definitely not fixed. The only information that you're getting that is fixed comes through the Encyclopedia Humanica, which is a recorded sort of record of the history, and how everything happened from the 2020s, 30s, 40s, 50s on and past that singularity point. We're not really giving an exact timeline that you drop into as a character, but no, it's several generations from the singularity point. So there are people alive who lived through it, but they're quite old. And so as a sort of younger person living on the outskirts surviving, you have to really kind of gather that information and do some deduction on it. So that's what I'll pause at right now. And what you're about to do is mint the thumb drive, which represents the way that information moves around. Because again, this is like post-internet, post-AI. Some humans in the world have access to the kind of really crazy AI, but they've kind of essentially signed their life away for it.
Good
Something that
point.
we call the took, right? At some point, the AIs took over the universal basic income provided by the government, and really just started to control and optimize the population by just putting them in, immersive headsets. So you essentially kind of sell yourself away to be took and to access all that. The other people have decided to stay sovereign on their own, and so that's why they've built these kind of private sneaker net, private blockchain networks. They kind of move information back and forth through these thumb drives, almost like carrier pigeons. So everything's slower again. Everything is back to basics of the logistics of human life and resources. And so this drive represents something that you as a character on the outskirts discovers.
Wow. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm still diving in, and I'm I know I sound like a newbie, but finishing up my copy too of Snow Crash. So I'm going into all this as from hearing Hero talk about it, watching interviews and hearing you speak now about this. It's like amazing to know what is being built and what's going to be like the experience for everyone. It's kind of right now it's like such a build-up, because it seems like, oh wow, I can really submerge myself into this world and in this metaverse, basically, where this all comes together.
Yeah, and that's by design. A lot of times the creative process will have a script or a manuscript or a shooting script, or at least a draft, right, or a book or something that is source material. And in this sense, our source material is canon. It is just sort of these scattered ideas that start to bring the semblance of a world together, but we're not answering everything for you. This doesn't have really a foregone conclusion. The idea is that this is being built on these rails that keep it all dynamic, so that each player's participation, each player's choices, and the collective of all the choices and participation can create different outcomes, different dynamic ways that the story grows.
Awesome. 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 Very cool. Yeah. Okay. So this starts like basically, you guys can choose who opens. Like it's. I want to know what fizzled singularity is. Can you describe that a little bit? It's like when the story opens generations after what you and Neal call fizzled singularity. I'd like to just know a little bit more about that. I know you kind of touched on it a tiny bit, but
Yeah, I'm going to speak in depth to the things that we've shared already. So the nature of how this has gone is almost like a trail of breadcrumbs.
right,
Started first on a landing page. Now that landing page has moved over to the Spaces product, which is Lamina1's product for IP and new IP. And so when you go and you join the space, you'll see different posts, sort of one every day, which just gives another node in the canon. And it does come together to create a constellation, but a lot of that we're not really speaking directly on yet. So I will speak on the things that we have dropped so far, because I think that's part of the fun, is kind of speculating with everyone.
right, right,
So the Fizzled Singularity you can think of as this, this is speculative fiction, right? And speculative fiction sort of doesn't always want to predict the future. It wants to create a story that causes some thoughts, some conversations, and also not do something that's overdone already, right? And so Neal is really known for Snow Crash. He has an incredibly prolific career of a lot of different types of writing. It's not even all future or technology, right? Like the Broke Cycle's very much the past and pirates and all this kind of stuff. So with Artefact, we kind of inverted the expectation. Everyone's always talking about the future and the singularity and this kind of incredible like fuse of AI and humans and all this stuff. And this timeline is really to look at like almost in a satirical way, like what if that didn't happen, right? Like what if the singularity was for humans this very anti-climactic point where the rate of technology, went off the charts, but it actually didn't mean that much for humanity, and they needed to kind of go cyclically back to survival again. And what does that mean for that future? How do people continue to organize together in that reality? And really the cooperation of people together without technology. All these kinds of challenges were really, very interesting for Neal to explore. So the fizzled singularity is just this idea that, you know, we don't we don't necessarily rocket to the stars together with AI. In some ways, this becomes not just an adversarial relationship, but something where AI surpasses humanity and doesn't think about it as much. And yet humans are still alive. And so, what does that mean for the people who exist in that type of reality?
right. In a way, it's. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, in a way, it's almost like you having this relationship with AI, the humans having a relationship with AI is almost turning, basically like trying to make that more human. Is this what I'm understanding correctly? Like you're using it as a tool to help influence your human life, right? So it's becoming a little bit like it's more human. Um, yeah, that's how I got that. That's how I took that. Please explain a little if I was wrong.
Yeah, no, this is meant to be an entirely humanist story, right? Like the artifacts are things that emerge from this timeline and allow people to reorganize again and allow people to find ways of coordinating and cooperating again. And so it really kind of draws a parallel to a future timeline that can hopefully start to cause these kinds of conversations for what people want to do with that reality now before that singularity point. Um, and this is speculative fiction. It's satirical. It's meant to be fun, but at the same time, we are right on top of this thing in the real world, in our real timeline, and the ways that we can kind of spark the ideas for people to think about that. This can be a great mechanic for that. So you might be sent into the future where things are more kind of Mad Max feeling and really constrained, and there's a lot of scarcity to deal with, but there's a lot that can be experienced in that can be brought back to present day to think about, AI and humans' place in it today.
Right. That's awesome. Thank you for explaining that to me a little more. I definitely will need some help on all that as we go forward in this journey. So like as far as getting everything together and putting it on, like from just a landing page to the actual product, like that must have been a challenge for both of you to see this through. And as far as I can see, it's like I just claimed today, and we're going to talk about the mint, the Artefact mint, the thumb drive. So if you guys would like to start talking about that, maybe Nicholas or Ryan, you guys can choose. I just want to give people an idea of where it is, how they can do it, and what it means to mint this thumb drive.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let Nicholas talk about the process of production on it and making it and how it fits into kind of the roadmap ahead on things. But to be just really logistic in terms of how you go, you go right to Lamina1.com. You'll see the artifact on the front page. Drop in to that and then join the space. It's all wallet enabled in the back end, so I think most of you are familiar with that. But you'll connect your wallet, you'll join the space, and then it'll be a pinned post. I mean, it will be impossible to miss because it is the most recent post. So as long as you've connected your wallet, you hold Lamina, you've joined the space, then you're eligible to mint. And there's one per wallet. This is a free mint. We cover all the gas fees. We've really detuned this for any degen, kind of trenching. This is not your standard 10,000 PFP with all kinds of different tiers of rarity and all this kind of stuff. This is a free mint that's your ticket into the world. And there will be, again, an experience and an arc that can result in more assets and more rare things. But we want to lower the barrier to entry now. You all get early access as part of this day for specifically for Linea community, and then it'll go public for the next few days. But yeah, it is a free mint. You go right to the space. You do need to make sure you join the space and that your wallet has Linea in it, and you'll be eligible. It's not necessarily an artifact. Artefact is the IP, but what you're going to see today is a thumb drive, and that thumb drive's designed in a very specific way for the lore of this story and this world, which you can scroll through the space and start to retroactively catch up on all the canon that we've shared.
Before you go, Nicholas, thank you so much, Ryan. Before you go, I just want to let everybody here know, like to mint, when you're in there, basically it's like just make sure that you, like you said, you have Linea in the wallet. You get a wallet created for you when you first sign in and create an account on the Lamina1 website. So when you see that, you have to create an account. You are given a wallet address. That's where the Linea has to be, and then you have to join the space also. Go ahead. Thank you so much, Nicholas.
Yeah, I mean, you can also use your wallet, like MetaMask or any of the wallets that you already use. You don't have to use the Web3 auth native wallet
Okay.
for the space. You can use your own wallet as well.
That's perfect. Thank you. There you go, Hero. We had that question before too. So that's perfect. Thank you. Mhm. Ooh, this, yeah. Right. To touch on that a little more, this was awesome. Thank you for that. And to touch on this a little bit more, what makes this more than just another NFT drop? I mean, we got people like, why should I mint this? Why should I do that? And being as like a Linea and myself and being biased, like to basically what you just said about Linea and Lamina1 doing like a partnership, it's like, why would people do this today and do it right now rather than wait for it to be publicly available? What makes this more like than just
Yeah,
another?
I mean, look, I'm gonna be really honest. We had fully intended to allow people to jump into the game like day of, so we had planned to give everyone like, L1 was yesterday, today's Linea. We had planned for you all to be able to jump in the game immediately, but like what we've done in the last 9 weeks just would have taken a year in the old world. And so like we're moving really quickly, but it's still also been such a short timeline that we just needed to do this next week. So essentially it's kind of just being first right now and being excited, but the intention was really to give you guys actually first access to this thing. Um, so now the mint is really this window where you guys get it first couple days. It'll go public the next few days. We'll probably keep it open. But next Monday is now when the post will go on the space of the actual interface for the game. It'll be pinned just like the mint post is, and then you'll just go in and you'll full screen it and play the game. You'll
That's
step in,
awesome.
but you have to have a thumb drive to be permitted in to play the game because it is your narrative bridge into it. So without it, you can only spectate and watch other people play.
That's awesome. Okay, that answers another question as well. So the
But I
thumb
don't want to.
drive.
I don't want to dance around it or anything. Like in
No,
this
no.
in this case, we had fully intended to allow you guys, our community and Linea community to like play this days before everyone else, and it just didn't work out that way. Sorry.
It happens. This is Web3, as we all know. So this happens all the time. Great, thank you for that explanation on that too. Yeah, I know a lot of people are just asking about it, and it's great to see this unfold and start being drafted. More people are realizing this is more than just some regular storyboard that's being built here. This is actually interactive, and you guys are doing something that's going to be pretty impactful, I think, on both communities, which I love. And I'm becoming more
Oh
and
yeah, I
more.
mean for the deep gamers at a high concept, and if you don't know either of these games, make a note. You can look them up. But if you do, you'll kind of really understand right away what the vision is Citizen Sleeper meets Oregon Trail. Like going back to the Oregon Trail
Wow,
concept of like the innovation that had on text games, but really like playing a book, right? It is a literary feeling
I love
feeling
it.
experience, along with Citizen Sleeper, which is probably lesser known, but if you go look it up, it's fucking amazing. And our main dev is like the best solo dev that I've ever seen. He comes from Square Enix. He's in Tokyo and he worked on the Square Enix games, Final Fantasy stuff. He had really developed a whole UGC side of Square Enix that got canceled, unfortunately. And then I've been working with them for like the past several years. We just really share a vision. So a lot of this is really producing that just general excitement of like the minimum viable kind of playable fun game that Citizen Sleeper is, and then drawing back on the strengths of Neal and thinking about Oregon Trail as
Awesome.
well. Yeah.
So cool. Yeah. I mean, now we're going back years, back to CAD, not CAD, but computer class, like literally back in grade school, like when, and it's like you won a chance to play that game, Oregon Trail, right? That was your chance. If you were the best person that did all your lessons that day, it was like you got a chance to play it longer than everybody else, which was amazing. It was the coolest thing back then in like, third grade. Yeah, I'm putting myself out there a little bit too with dating my
I mean, and that's the other thing is part of this is really it's meant to be fun, it has mechanics, it has progression, there's scarcity, and eventually I think we'll probably put some dice roll stuff into it, but it's meant to like get people back to their childhood again. Like I've now been working around Neal for a bit, and I see really honestly the people that lead the world in tech and business right now just sort of come back to being a kid because they read Neal when they were growing up, and it inspired something in them that they then dedicated their life to building. And so I think that's like what's really unique is having Neal Stephenson, having Wētā, you know, the masters that they are. If you don't know, they built Lord of the Rings and have done world building for pretty much every movie you probably love. And then having now, Joseph Lubin and you folks in the Linea community and the future of where Ethereum's going. I think it's just it's an unprecedented opportunity to do that thing that I started this conversation with, which is like really bring narrative IP on chain.
It's amazing. Playing a book is like what you said earlier was like blew me away. It's great to have that kind of feeling where you can just be like immersed in this whole process, and it's like you are making, like you're going through the decision making and experiences of it, which to me is huge. I love that. I know Hero would probably have a lot to say about this, being our resident gamer here. But yeah, I think
I have
okay.
a ton of questions. I just don't know that we can get into game preview stuff just yet. I think that's more of a next week conversation.
That's all you, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do another one of these on Monday, or actually Wednesday next week. And we'll be able to. I just don't want to give too much away. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sure,
like
totally understand.
this is not going to be a complete game, right? Like you guys are early access to something that is like a really experimental idea on a new IP in a new world, and I think of it episodically. So think of this as like the pilot episode, and there's a season ahead, and we'll do different episodes, and you'll all put your fingerprints on it, but we want as much feedback as possible. And pilot episode is fixed to what it is, so we're ready to sort of ship that and get it out, but I don't want to give too much away. I mean, if you look at the Variety article, you can see more, but
Okay.
I think it's more fun for people to dive in, as soon as possible on Monday and just like really discover it for themselves. And then on Wednesday, for those who haven't, we can bring it up and show more, but we can also talk with the people who have spent the last kind of couple days in it and get that feedback directly and just kind of talk about it in more detail.
I think that's perfect. Yeah. So Monday's the day the game officially, not the full game, but just the test, right? Comes out.
Yeah, it's like the pilot episode's Monday.
Okay. Right.
And then say probably the episode length is probably about a month. So episode 2 might start beginning of December, with that kind of cadence. I mean, some people will probably min-max this thing and speed run, but we also have set it on these kinds of mechanics of resources and scarcity, so you can only kind of do so much at a time.
Perfect. Okay. I have some other questions, but they're about the game, so I don't know if we want to touch on them. But I mean, you can decide.
This is an AMA, so hit
Right.
us. I'll decline if we're not
Right. Right. That's what I wanted to get across. All right. Feel free totally to save it for next week if you want. But like,
feel free to ask anything. That's true to the AMA title.
That's it. I'm going to talk about who you are in this experience.
For everything, though.
So
guarantee.
as far as
not a.
so as far as storytelling narrative, is this going to be like a collaborative, like the community is all working together towards a goal, or are we going to have like different, there's some competition involved where, hey, some part of the community is going to be working towards this goal, or some's going to be working towards that, or is there anything you can give us on that?
Yeah, I mean, true to the goal is absolutely the purpose. The challenge therein is where to create the sandboxes for that to work within a kind of core of a story. If you think about this episodically, like we have a writer's room, Neal's the showrunner, I'm the executive producer, we have the writers and the production. Where can we open that up for a sandbox for the audience to start to be a part of that process? This is something that's been tried a lot, decentralized writers' rooms, and this kind of collective participation in world building, but it's challenging. I don't think that it's been done super well. I don't know if there's like a great case study to point to. And so in that sense, it is absolutely the goal here, and it's what this IP is native to as a concept, but we're still very much going to figure out the best way to play that out. But we've talked about how, gameplay would give you more pieces of the puzzle, and then as a community, together you'd put that puzzle together. And so there is participation in that, but I want to even go deeper into UGC, and we already have a couple people that have been doing kind of fan fiction type stuff, but I want to weave those threads together even more tightly. We don't know yet exactly how it will manifest. Episodic storytelling.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is not wanting to reveal too much. Also, just to be very honest, part of it is because we haven't determined it yet, and it won't be just us that determines all this. You know what I mean? So we don't have the answers for everything. But I just dropped the Variety article, which is a follow up from last year's Variety article, which we just published, and it goes into things a little deeper. But if you take a step back and you think about storytelling, right? You have like the feature length kind of thing, or you have the episodic, and we're leaning more towards this kind of gradual episodic arc over time that has like procedural elements you know, where each episode has a map and there's certain things that are kind of repetitive and you're wandering around and discovering new things, but there's also one overarching like serial style story.
Ooh.
I use terminology. Procedural is like the cop show or the doctor show, where it's like every episode it's kind of, you know, it's another patient or it's another victim or whatever. Serial is that thing where like it's chapters in a book and there's one story being told across all the episodes. We're kind of playing around with a mix of both of those.
Excellent. Oh man, this sounds like amazing. I'm like foaming at the mouth waiting to play this next week. Wow. Okay. Interesting stuff here. Thank you both. You know, when they start, like, I mean, I don't want to give too much away. So maybe we can
Sorry.
say
I also just for context, not to interrupt. Sorry.
no. Go
I
ahead.
also dropped it's like a brand new native Artefact X account. We just got it set up. If you, I mean, follow that if you're tracking, but specifically if you've minted, please make sure you follow that and you join the space because the cool thing here is that, you know, a lot of IP, a lot of movies, franchises, TV shows have social media. You know, some of them might even have a Discord, whatever. But it's really like audience and spectator level. The vision for Spaces is that it's actually the spine where everyone's coming back to. It's like the organizing principle that everyone comes back to and continues to evolve everything. And that's where like the participation happens and stuff. So make sure that you follow that and join the space. That's where everything's happening.
You guys heard it first. There is some other accounts out there, so make sure you guys watch out for scam accounts on X2, and use the link that that Ryan provided. Please do that. Don't get scammed. Tons of these bastards out there. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just to double tap on that, we're not launching like any token, and this mint is free. So if you ever see anyone asking you to pay for a mint associated to Artifact, and it's not directly from us, like right now, there's no such thing as that. So don't get fooled by that.
We got someone today saying, "Look at their token price; it's down already." Talking about you guys, I was like, "Okay." It's like, please don't come here doing that in this channel. Thanks. Yeah, thank you for that, for the PSA also, just to make everybody safe. And please only follow official links.